Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today in this tutorial I am going to show you how we can create this animation in React Native by using React Native Reanimated. So let's see the animation first. After clicking on this button, here you can see a progress bar, a circular progress bar animated, and here we have this bounce effect with this check mark, right? And also if we click on this button again, then it will go back to its previous state. Now again we can see the animation. Okay, so this is what we are going to create today in this tutorial. So if you are interested in these kinds of tutorial, then hit the like button, subscribe to my channel for more tutorials like this, and don't forget to hit the notification bell icon so that you get notified whenever I post a new tutorial on this channel. So without wasting any more time, let's get started. Okay, so here I have created a new project, and in this project you can see I have just this app component and I have this container styling. So here we can see the background color and the center aligned text. And now first we are going to install React Native Reanimated package in our project. So here let me copy this command and paste it here. So it has been installed, and after that we need to go to the documentation page, go to the installation, and here we need to provide this code to babel.config.js file. So here is the file, and after this preset here we need to provide the plugin, and now save it. And after that for Android we don't need to do anything extra, and along with it I want to install another package which is called React Native SVG, because we are going to use some SVG element in our project. So that's why we will require this. So let's copy this command and paste it here. And after that for iOS I need to go to the iOS directory and then do a pod install, and this pod installation is required for both the packages which we have installed. So that's why I am doing it. And now if I do pod install once, then all the packages will be installed properly for iOS. For Android we don't need to do anything. So now hit enter. So it has been done. Now let's go back to root directory, and after that we need to close this Metro Bundler UI process and let's rebuild our app. And for that I'm going to use this React Native run iOS command. Okay, so our app is running perfectly after installing the packages. Now we need to implement the animation, and for that first we need to create a circle, and that we will create by using SVG. So it needs to be imported from React Native SVG package which we have installed, and within it we will create circle which is also coming from React Native SVG package. And for this circle we need to provide CX value, CY value, and R value which is radius. And for these values we will require width and height of the screen, and that we can get from dimensions API from React Native. So here we will get width and height, and then let's create some constant called circle length, and the value of it will be 1000. After that we need to determine the radius of the circle, and it will be circle length by 2 pi, 2 into math.pi. Now let's use those values here. So for CX it will be width by 2, for CY it will be height by 2, and for radius we are going to use radius. Then after that we need to provide a stroke, and here it will be the color of the stroke, and then we need to provide stroke width, and I will provide 30 for it. Now after saving it, here we can see our circle. So this will be our background circle, and on top of it we will display our circular progress bar. So that will be another circle. So let's create that, and we can copy this one, and for this one I will use a different color which will be this color, and for the width of it I will use 15. Now let's save it. So here is our circle. So this needs to be animated. So let's see some other prop of it. So here we have a stroke dash offset. So here if we provide some percent of it, then we will see some percent of the circle. But to see that we need to provide stroke dash array, and here we need to provide the circle length. So here we can see this is how our circle is showing right now. So here you can see if we have 95% of the circle length, then we will have this small amount of the circle. But if we have the 0, then we have full circle. And this is based on this dash array circle length. So this value needs to be some percentage of this value. So as you can see, if we have 15% or 5%, so that's how it is showing right now. If we have 50%, then it is half of the circle. So by changing this value, we can animate this circle, right? So to change this value, we need to first create a shared value, and let's name that value as circle progress and use shared value from Reanimated. So it needs to be imported from React Native Reanimated package, and for this one I'm going to use the value of 1, and we will change this value when our app component will mount. So within use effect, I will change the value of it. So here let's change the value by circle.progress.value, and here I'm going to use with timing from React Native Reanimated package, and here I will change the value of it to 0. And here we need to provide that value. We can provide the value like this, but it will not work like this. To make it animated, we need to make this component an animated component. So first here let's create animated circle, and it will be animated dot create animated component, and the component will be the circle component, and this animated needs to be imported from React Native Reanimated. So now we can use this animated circle component here instead of this circle. So we need to remember, whenever we want to animate some component, we need to change that component to animated component, right? So we have done that. Now let's save it. Let's reload our app. So here we cannot see the animation, and that is because we are using the shared value in the prop of the component, and we cannot use it like that. To use the shared value in a property value of a component, we need to create animated props. So let's create animated circle props, and we can create this by this use animated props hook, and that hook will also be imported from React Native Reanimated. Now after that, here we can use it, and here we will return this value. So now let's copy this animated circle props, and instead of this we will use this animated circle prop. Now save this, and now let's reload the app once. Okay, so here let me first show you the animation. So here after reloading the app, you can see quickly we have the animation of this circle progress bar, right? And previously it was not working because of this name. The name should be animated props. Okay, so you cannot use any other name for this. Use animated props. Previously I have used animated circle props, and that was not working properly. So as you can see here, let's just delete the S from the animated props for every occurrence. Save it, and now let's reload it once. We cannot see the animation, right? That's weird, but that's how it is. And I have also seen in their example they have named it as animated props, and that is actually working. For my case, any other name than this one is not working for me. So that's how it is. So now we can see our animation is working, but it is very fast. So we can configure it here. With timing, we can specify the duration 2000 millisecond. And now let's reload it. So here we can see we have the animation, and we can see it properly. And along with it, I want to do another thing, which is this stroke line cap, and here I want to provide it round. And now here we can see it is rounded. The edge of the circle progress is rounded. So now the circle animation is complete. Now we need to implement the animation for the check mark. And with the check mark we have another circle in the middle of this, and that circle is filled. So let's create a view with this styling, and by this we will create a circle. And to put it in the middle of it, we need to provide some styling here. So first here we need to provide position absolute, and for this one also we need to provide position absolute. So here we can see the circle. Now let's make it this big. So now it's looking good, and after that we need to create the check mark. And for the check mark, let's create a SVG. For the SVG view box, it will be this value, and then we need to provide path, and this one will also be imported from React Native SVG. Here we need to import it, and then for the path d value we need to provide this value. For the stroke we need to provide white color. For the stroke width I will use 2. So this is the check mark, and let's provide stroke line cap as round. Now we need to provide the animation with it. When the circle is getting filled up, that time these things will appear. So first let's animate this circle. So to create appearing animation for this circle, we need to use scaling. Here we can use scale like this. So if we have scale value 1, so that means it will be in its normal size, but if it will be any value less than 1, then it will shrink. So by changing this value we can make it from small to large. So let's implement that, and for that here we need to create another shared value variable, and let's call it scale. And for the value of it I will use 1, and by default I'm going to use width of it 3 and height of it 3 as well. And let's comment this check mark as of now, and here we can see a tiny dot which is this circle. So if I make it little bigger, then we can see that it is visible properly, but for this one it is not that much visible, but still it is there. We can see a dot, and by this we can make it large if we can change the scaling. So by default it will be 1, which is there, we can see the dot, but if we increase this one, then we can see the circle is growing bigger, right? So that's how we will change the value here. So here it will be scale dot value, let's provide 80 here, and then let's create reanimated style, and here we need to provide use animated style, and this hook needs to be imported from React Native Reanimated. And here we will return this style. So here let's provide the value, and here instead of this transform value, and let's use the reanimated style. And here we need to change this view component to animated view. So it will be this animated.view, and we have already this animated imported from reanimated package, right? So here we can see gradually this circle is appearing while this circle progress bar is getting filled up, right? But I don't want it to appear as soon as the animation starts, and also I don't want this animation to take this much time, so I will remove this duration. So here we can see that it is appearing instantly, and I want this kind of animation but with some delay. So that's we can provide by using with delay hook from reanimated package, and here I will provide 1000 milliseconds of delay. So that means when this will be filled up 50% of the circle, that time it will start appearing. Okay, So now it's looking good, but I want to provide it a bounce effect that I can provide easily by using with spring hook. And also you need to import this one as well. Now let's save it. So now this one is looking quite good, and now I want to provide another animation here in this circle. As you can see right now, we can see the circle as a dot while the animation is not starting. So it is there, but I want to make it invisible properly, and that I can do by using opacity. So let's create another shared value. So let's name this filled circle opacity, and initially the value of it will be 0. And here in the use effect, let's provide the value of it 1, and let's use this opacity value here for this style. So here for the reanimated style, we have this scale styling and the opacity styling. So initially the value will be 0, and later the value will be 1 with the delay of 1000 millisecond. And here we don't need to use this with spring because it will not bounce, as this is just the opacity, so we can use the with timing. Now save it. So here we can see we don't have the dot, we have nothing there at the beginning, but when the animation is starting, that time we can see the circle is appearing from nowhere. Let's see it once again. So initially we don't have any dot, but later it is appearing as we want, right? So it's working perfectly well. Now let's uncomment the check mark, and now we need to animate this one, and for this one we will use the opacity only, and this one will be similar to this. Let me name it to tick opacity, and we need to update it here. And for this one I will provide 1500 millisecond of delay, and let's provide a duration here which will be 500 millisecond. So while performing the animation, first we will start with this circle, so it will come up to 50% of it. Then we will have this filled circle, it will appear here, and then after 500 milliseconds of delay, which is in total 1500 milliseconds of delay, this tick mark will appear, and it will be similar to this one. So let's copy this, and we don't have any transform for this one, and I will name this tick animated style, and we need to use this one, but it will be tick opacity value. So here for the style of it, it will be tick animated style, but it will not animate as this is not animated component. So we need to create the animated component like this, so it will be animated path. So instead of path, it will be animated path. Now save this one. Okay, so now we can see that it is appearing properly. And here for this with spring also we can provide the duration, and I will provide 1000 milliseconds of duration for this circle to pop up. So it's working perfectly well. Now let's create a button, and by clicking on that button this animation will happen. So let's create that button here with touchable opacity, and it needs to be imported from React Native. Now first let's provide some style for this one, so it will be button, and this one will be button text, and let's here copy paste the styling. So this is how our button will look like. And now for the on press of it, we will call this on press function. So let's create that, and here we will need another hook which is called use callback from React, and here we can provide these values. So first let's provide this one. So this is the animation which is happening, but with this button I want to provide the reverse animation also. So we need to check for the value. So if the circle progress value is greater than 0, then it will change the value of it to 0 with timing, otherwise it will be 1. with the same duration. So similarly for the other animations also I need to do the same thing, and it will be clear. And if it is not clear to you now, it will be clear in a minute. So here I'm checking for the value. If the scale value greater than 1, so by default it is 1 and it is going up to 80. So if it is greater than 1, then it is already 80. So we need to provide the reverse animation, and the reverse animation will be this with spring 1. So this is the reverse animation. The circle will be shrinked, and I will not use the duration here. Now let's check it once. Let's comment these things out. So here we can see the animation is happened already. Now let's click this one. So here we can see the reverse animation of the circle progress and this circle. So right now this has been shrinked, but we can see the dot here. So we need to provide this filled circle opacity animation as well, and we have this one, right? So the animation is happening perfectly for these two, which we have already provided. Now let's provide the values for these two. So filled circle opacity value, if it is greater than 0, that means this is already in this state. So we need to provide the reverse animation, and for this one I will use 500 delay, and the value of it will be 0. Let's provide the tick opacity, and it will also be similar. If it is greater than 0, that means it is already 1. The reverse animation of it will be this. So the value of it will be 0. But for this one I am not using any delay or any duration for the animation, because while the filled circle will be shrinked, first thing needs to be disappeared is this check mark. So that's why it will go back to 0 as soon as possible. We are not providing any duration here. Now save it. Okay. So this is the order. First this animation is happening, then this circle is appearing, and then this check mark is appearing while the normal animation is happening. And when the reverse animation is happening, then the first thing will be disappeared is this one, this check mark, then this filled circle, and then a circular progress bar will take its normal time to disappear. Okay, now let's click here. Right, we can see now it is completely clear. Right, so that's how our animation is happening, and this is it guys. This is the tutorial. I hope you have learned something new from this tutorial. If you do so, then hit the like button, subscribe to my channel for more tutorials like this, and if you have any kind of suggestion for me, then also let me know. And don't forget to share this tutorial with your friends and colleagues, and I will see you guys in my next tutorial. In the meantime, have a great day. Goodbye.